Well, since you were last here, it looks like the championship may have got away from us this season. Now it's all about trying to be the best of the rest and be well positioned for the playoffs. We might have started to stutter a bit. Today is where we've got to turn the tide back in our favour. Let's go. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Dog Turds into Diamonds. We are here turning dog turds into diamonds with AFC Rushden and Diamonds. And yeah, since the last time you were here, we have been stuttering a little bit. You can see that Gloucester now have a 9-point lead at the top of the table. They also have a better goal difference than us. We have started to struggle a little bit in recent weeks for goals and positive results. If we take a look at how things have been going, when we were last here, of course, we lost to Gloucester away. Very disappointing performance, and we then drew 0-0 away at Chester. After this, we took on Maidstone at home in the third round of the FA Trophy. And as you can see, we went out on penalties. But when I click on this, you're going to see that does not tell the story. This may have been the FMing of all FMings. This was very, very annoying. In 120 minutes, Maidstone had 2 shots on target, a 0.46 XG. We had 15 shots on target, 30 in total, and a 4.05 XG. And we are out of the FA Trophy. Really, really annoying. I played a full strength team here. The only player that was missing was James Price. He was very tired after that hectic run of games that we'd had. To be honest, I felt confident enough in Mason Burstow. I thought we had more than enough to beat Maidstone. And when you look at the stats of the game, we really did have enough to beat Maidstone. We dominated from start to finish. They had their first shot on target in the 85th minute to equalise and take it to extra time. We then continued to completely dominate through extra time. By the time penalties came around, all of our penalty takers more or less were off the field. Marsh Hughes was off the field. Brown was off the field. Obviously, Price didn't start. I'm trying to remember if Waltman was still on the field at that point. I think he was, but he's a very poor penalty taker. And so, yeah, after Thomas Hughes scored, we then proceeded to miss our next 2 penalties. They scored all of theirs, and we are out of the FA Trophy. Really, really annoying, really frustrating, not least because the FA Trophy was the last trophy that we were playing for where you can get some good money in. I was really hoping to use the FA Trophy to maybe get us somewhere near being in the black at the end of the season, and that has now completely gone out the window. A really, really annoying way to go out. I kind of feel like the morale took a hit with the Gloucester result and then Chester away, and I kind of feel like this was one of those FM games that was written in the stars. Although we played really, really well, the confidence to finish our chances just wasn't there, and we've ended up losing the game. We then took on Boston United at home in the Vanarama North. As you can see, we got a nice 1-0 win here. It was good to get back to winning ways. We were trying to keep the pressure up on Gloucester at the top. It was James Price in the 37th minute. You can see again, we completely dominated the game in terms of possession and shots. We didn't have a lot of shots on target, which was concerning. So again, just a lack of confidence in front of goal. But we ended up getting the 3 points. That was the important thing. We were still in the middle here of a really hectic run, and just a couple of days later, we played Chorley at home. I did have to make some changes, but you're going to see here again, it was a really frustrating defeat. Chorley are actually rated, although I think they're about 16th in the table right now. They are actually rated by the media as the second best team in the Vanarama North. We are rated as the 5th, so they are a very good team, probably much better than their league position suggests. But still, you can see the XG here really only goes up in their favour right at the end of the game. Prior to that, we had the better XG all the way through the match. But I'm going to show you the goals, because there was a couple of errors from Kevin Loco at the back, which I don't think I have seen anything so bad on FM during this entire season. Have a look at this. So things got off to a great start when James Price, look at that little dink, absolutely beautiful. We were well in control of the game, and I was feeling confident until Chorley got this equaliser right at the start of the second half. To be honest, I then went very attacking. I felt it was still a game we could win. And Sowunmi, with a really poor defensive error there, misjudging that. And then look at this, a repeat there. Kevin Loco, absolutely abysmal. And Chorley come out with a 3-1 win, our 3rd league defeat of the season and our 2nd defeat of the season at home, which is very frustrating. You can see how poorly everybody played. Sowunmi 6.2, Loco 6.4, Blair 6.1, Folk 6.4, Clement 6.4, Crowsdale 6.4. It was an absolute disaster of a game. The players that came on off the bench, Walker played a 6.4, Spencer a 6.4, and Lloyd Marshews a 6.6. It was just a disaster in every way possible. And that really handed the advantage to Gloucester. Gloucester actually drew in the same game week here. But as you can see from our next 3 games, 2 wins and a draw has really handed the advantage to Gloucester. We then we played Boston United again in quick succession. We played them away from home, completely dominated this game again. They had only 1 shot on target. A really good performance, and nice to see Mason Burstow get a couple of goals. He is definitely a viable option for us. He's still not threatening to replace James Price as a starter, but as an option when Price needs to rest or coming off the bench, I think he looks good. We then beat Telford 4-2 in our following game, and again, although they scored 2, you can see they only had 3 on target the entire match. It was another game that we were really comfortable in. We just got done a couple of times, which is a little bit concerning. Gabadebo played a very poor game, 6.5. But it was another 2 goals for James Price. Kevin Loco had a little bit of a redemption, heading in a corner in the 80th minute to make it 3-2 after they had equalised. And it was, really just a pleasing performance, even though we conceded 2 goals. We do look a little bit vulnerable. We then went away against Bradford PA, a 0-0 draw, and this was a really annoying one. You can see we were well in control of the game again. We could only manage 4 shots on target. They defended valiantly, but again, it just seems like we're lacking in confidence. James Price played a 6.2. Very disappointing, and it's that result there that has allowed Gloucester to open up a 9-point lead at the top. I think we've got to kiss goodbye to the championship. We need a huge run, and we need Gloucester to hit a bit of a bad patch, which I guess could be possible because they haven't had a bad patch all season. You can see here in terms of morale, we're kind of a little bit shaky. We haven't got too many green arrows. It's all this greeny yellow shade right now. So we are kind of suffering a little bit. But I feel like hopefully we've come through this hectic period of playing games every few days. And now we're out of all the cups, we can just really concentrate on having a fit and fresh team out on the field for every league game and just really push Gloucester as hard as possible to the end of the season. That's now all we can do, is just give it our best shot and hope that Gloucester drop some points before we take them on the last game of the season. So In terms of what's been going on, Bailey Clements, you remember I bought in 2 left backs on loan, anticipating that Bailey Clements might possibly leave. He had big interest from Port Vale. They haven't come in with an offer for him this January. We're 10 days away from the end of the month, 10, 12 days. And right now there's nobody interested in him. So it looks like he's going to stay, and I'm going to end up loaded up with left backs. And the frustrating thing is I've reached my 6 loan limit for the season. I didn't realise there was a limit. I guess that's my fault for not checking it. I thought that I could have as many loans as I wanted. It turns out I couldn't. So I have an amazing striker at Charlton Athletic in their under 23s who I could have bought in on loan, but I've got no more loans left for the season. So this is the squad that's going to take us through. Apart from that, Gabadebo, his agent, got a little bit angsty about the fact that he was playing for £160 a game on a non-contract. Asked for a full part-time contract for him, which obviously I wanted to give him. He is our highest rated player this season, 7.73 rating for a centre-back who's only scored 2 goals all season as well. Incredible. 7 Player of the Match awards. I've never seen a centre-back get these kind of ratings. He's been absolutely phenomenal, even with his limited mentals. I mean, his decision making is just abysmal apparently, but he has been phenomenal. So obviously I was going to offer him a contract. He's on £350 a week until the end of the season now, and that has really kind of hammered the finances. If we have a look, we are now about £500 a week or £450 a week over the wage budget, which is absolutely huge. It means I cannot offer contracts to anybody else right now. I'm waiting for next season's budget to be announced. I'm pretty sure they'll give us a big bump on the budget because we've done very well financially this season. I need to use that budget to renew contracts for next season. The majority of the squad is out of contracts at the end of the season, so I'm going to be looking at that situation. But I think what I also might need to do is, now that we're out of all the cups, say goodbye to Jim Fenlon, say goodbye to Ponticelli, and maybe say goodbye to Leo Gaxa, just to get their wage considerations off the books. That might allow me to renew some contracts, or if there's a really special player comes up before the end of the season, to be able to make that move. So expect maybe after today's episode, the next time we come back, expect maybe no Jim Fenlon and probably no Ponticelli to still be in the squad. So anyway, let's get into today's game. This is how we're shaping up to take on 6th place Hereford. They're a very good team, obviously. Sam Blair in goal. Folks, right back, is Williams still suspended? He is. Jay Williams. He has got so many red and yellow cards this season. He's serving a 3-match suspension. I think this might be the last game of that suspension, which is good because Joseph Folks is 1 yellow away from a suspension. So they might just be crossing over after this game. Gabadebo, he was needing a rest, but he's had 7 days since the last game, so I'm hoping he's kind of recovered and is not going to need that rest now. George Ray, also a yellow away from a suspension. Bailey Clements at left back. Jack Earing, he has been injured. He has just come back in the team. I think we've really suffered without him. The last episode, we obviously had the possibility of, was it Kieran? Was it Mulligan or something like that? He decided to go to Bristol Rovers in the Football League, so I've been a little bit short in midfield. But Jack Earing is been back in the last couple of games, getting back to fitness. Ryan Crosdale, he is still wanted. He is wanted by a whole host of clubs, you can see. He is on a non-contract, I think. So, I mean, we might lose him, we might not. Max Waltman on the right, Lloyd Marsh back in at number 10. He is on a bit of a goal drought. He's really not carried on his early season form. Thomas Hughes on the left wing, and James Price, our top scorer. He is having a phenomenal season, the 18-year-old. He starts as the number 9. So Wunmi on the bench with King James, Jack Brown, Diamond Edwards, who is also a little bit annoyed right now. He feels he should be starting more games. He's only a squad player, but for some reason he thinks he should be starting more. And Mason Burstow, the sub striker. Let's get into this. We've really got to try and keep our season alive here. If we win this, we are 6 points behind Gloucester with the same amount of games played. Chester, third place at home against Southport. You would expect them to win that. If we don't win and Chester do, that really puts us under pressure. So got to hope for a good result here. Now we've come through this tough spell, I really want to see us have a good run of form and really try and, like I say, at least secure second place to have a good seeding for the playoffs. So I am going to make a couple of tactical changes. Just the way things have been going in recent weeks, we have been shaky. We've had games where we really struggled to score. We've had games where we're conceding goals. I'm going to make a couple of little changes. We're going to see what happens. Just taking into consideration the fact that Hereford are playing that 4-2-3-1 formation, the same as us. If I go to the tactics here, all I am going to do is, as we have done many times before, I am going to play in transition from the goalkeeper. I'm going to play to the flanks rather than putting our fullbacks under pressure. And I'm going to stop playing out defence for this game. So those will be my changes. We are no longer looking to pass into space. We're no longer looking for the ball in behind. Like last season, it does seem like teams have kind of got wise to that and are setting up to prevent that. So we've stopped looking for the ball in behind. I feel like in our last game against Bradford PA, that didn't really work in our favour. But let's hope that we can really start to put this recent run behind us and get a little bit more consistency. Again, with Hereford being a good team, it's a chance for us to really get some good confidence to take into the second half of the season. So an early highlight, and we've got possession, and we are playing out from the back, even though we don't have that specific instruction on. Bailey Clements doing very well into Price. Marsh Hughes comes all the way back out again. Our patient build up again. It's served us so well for 3 years now. We've really got to try and keep faith with the way that we play. A really good spell of possession this into Waltman. Earring finds Folks down the wing. Great cross in. Price sees his shot blocked. And is the highlight going to continue? It is. And they have a counter-attack now. Oh, I don't believe it. Well done, Crowsdale. Well covered there. And the highlight does end. Now, can we get hold of this? We can. So 7 minutes in, we've had 2 highlights already. Hopefully, this bodes well for things to come. Lloyd Marsh Hughes now has his shot saved. Or blocked, perhaps. So, a couple of warning shots for them as they now head over. And Hereford, showing why they're 6th. They're not going to be an easy game. We now get a corner. And it's Gabadebo, his 3rd of the season, rewarding us for that new contract. We've guaranteed that he's with us at least until the end of the season. Love seeing the stand on that far side absolutely full today. The other side not so, but that's very pleasing. So we've got ourselves in front and we're performing well. Hopefully we can now keep this going and have a really good confidence boosting win here as we win it back again. Hughes straight into Price, a good direct ball. Price finds Waltman and it's 2-0. Superb. And this is just what we need after the run we've had. I feel like we are going to have an easier second half of the season than Gloucester. We've talked about how all our big games in this second half of the season are at home, including against Gloucester on the final day. Hopefully, they can perhaps drop some away points over the course of the season and we can make it a little bit closer than it is right now. As Marsh Hughes there, again, just laying it back to the defence. Really nice to see our defence participating in the play. It's another really good move here. Can Earing get the cross in? He can. Waltman, Earing again. Marsh Hughes couldn't shoot. It's not a penalty. Waltman gets it across, and James Price is there to tap in for his 25th goal of the season. What a debut season for this youngster. 18 years old. Every time I talk about him, I talk about his age. I talk about how he was released by Chelsea. Let's start talking about him being a really top-level Vanarama North player. And he has been developing really well through the season. I really hope he can become a very special player that can move forward with us, hopefully through the leagues as this save goes on. And again, I really shouldn't have praised the players as that highlight started. I should have let the highlight go out. Yeah, that's a far too simple, isn't it? 3-1 and Hereford possibly back into it. I mean, it's not even a close offside. It was never, ever going to be considered offside. Their first shot on target of the game, and they are back into it, maybe. We've now got to do a really professional job here. And Cameron Agabadebo gets his second of the game, and this is what we wanted to see from him when we signed him. We were expecting set-piece goals from this giant of a man, and he's perhaps starting to deliver. Can he now, through the second half of the season, really pick up his game? And you have to think that at 4-1 up at half-time, Hereford have got to be out of this. They gave themselves a lifeline, but we immediately took control back, and I'm going to tell the players I'm very, very pleased with that. With it, the lack of goals we have had at times in our recent run, to score 4 in the first half is very, very pleasing. And I'm going to take the opportunity in this second half to rest some players, because we've got some tired legs out there. The second half now a lot more boring than the first, which I'm perfectly happy with. Let's get Gabadebo off, even though he's on a hat-trick. So Wunmi can come in, and I'm going to swap these guys round. Let Ray be the man on cover. I just don't think Sawumi has got that covering ability in his game. And Lloyd Marsh Hughes I'm going to bring off. And I think just because he's been a little bit annoyed at lack of game time, I'm going to bring on Diamond Edwards and make Waltman the number 10. I've got to try and keep Diamond Edwards sweet for the rest of the season. So the more minutes I can give him, the better, I suppose. He's got a few starts recently with the high amount of games we've had to play. As Thomas Hughes, it's only 8 for the season, the man who scored 30 and 26 in his last 2 seasons. He hasn't been able to maintain that with the step up, but I mean, he's still got a lot of assists this season, and he's now got 8 goals. And if he can continue doing that for the rest of the season, we're going to be absolutely delighted with him. 5-1, a really nice win. And I think with that, I might give Hughes a rest, because he is one of the players that tends to fatigue a little bit quicker than others with the way that we play. And we're still looking for more, and we've got a corner there. And Hereford just defending with everything they've got. They just haven't been able to live with us today. Really good to play the 6th place team and put in such a dominant performance. Really good confidence booster. Price somehow ended up out on the wing there. And that dies out that highlight. Let's make another change here. Waltman, Earing and Hughes all pretty tight. I think I'm going to change Earing. He's just come back from injury. He's still building up his fitness. So we'll get Jack Brown on in there. He's played much more as a central midfielder this season, with Lloyd Hughes really cementing his place in the number 10 role. 15 minutes to go, and it's a nice, comfortable finish to the game. Absolutely no danger at all today, apart from maybe when they got that goal back. There was a little bit of doubt, but we quickly put that to bed. It's been another dominant performance, and that is how we want to continue for the rest of this season now. Great result. Really, really pleased. Let's really try and get the players morale right back up where it needs to be as we try and push towards the end of the season now. And I think the next game that we are going to come back for, I think we've got York City at home in about a month's time. It seems every time I do a live con, we seem to get this long wait at the end of the game. I promise you, it doesn't usually take so long when I'm playing through. It's not a regular thing, but every time I do a live con, we seem to get this. So I'm just going to hang around in this loop, and we'll come back. Oh, there you go. Every time I say I'm gonna come back when it finishes, it then finishes. So we are 11 points clear of Chester, which is good. I want to keep that gap over them. I don't want them to get any closer to us before the playoffs. I don't want them to go into the playoffs with any sort of confidence that they might be better than us. So let's have a look at when we come back. We've now got a little bit of a run against some very winnable teams: Guiseley, Nuneaton Borough, Spennymoor, Alfreton, Warrington and Altrincham. I think all of those games are really winnable. I think we could now go on a 7-game winning run, hopefully, before we take on York at home and Darlington away. Darlington not doing particularly well, but they are another team that were expected to do much, much better this season and do have a big wage budget. So we might, depending on how Darlington's form goes, we might do a double header here for the next episode. And that'll be important because we then, in the last month of the season, we then hit a little bit of a tough run-in with Oxford City at home, Blythe at home and Gloucester at home. So we will see you guys again definitely for York, maybe a double header with Darlington. But for now, I think we can be very, very pleased with the day's work we've had against Hereford. Hopefully it continues. I'll see you next time for the next episode of Dog Turds into Diamonds. Bye for now.